Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for Just Ask Jane. Today we're going to talk about worry warts and some coping skills. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to help you with that. But I received the most amazing note here from Carolyn. And Carolyn wrote in that, she tosses and she turns every single night because she worries about her son, who she feels may not make it through the night because he suffers from seizures. And he has type 1 diabetes, and if his blood sugar drops a little too low, she's afraid that he may have a seizure. He could suffer a coma or even death, as she writes here. She indicates that he's had a seizure not long ago at a diabetes camp. Lasted about 45 seconds or so, but it really scared her. And she really has trouble sleeping as a result. She constantly thinks about this day in, day out. And she wants to know how she could stop worrying constantly. Now, Carolyn, it's difficult. It really is, but there are answers to your concerns. And I'm going to tell you, there are 4 really simple steps that I use to be able to cope with these types of things. Now, the first thing is you really need to change the way you think. And I could so relate to that for myself because when I was very young, maybe about 10, 11 years old, I overheard the doctors telling my mother that my father was going to either drop dead, not wake up in the morning, or just suffer a massive heart attack and die very suddenly and very young. And this is not something that really anyone wants to hear. But the thing is, of course, my mother, worried constantly because of course she would. It's her husband. She loved him so much. But the thing is, at my young age, I really essentially worried so much that I think I wasted so many years waiting for my father to die. And it's really a terrible thing to say, but it's the truth. And the thing is, it really wasn't a great way of growing up because I was worried that if I got angry, my father would get upset and have a heart attack. Or if I expressed myself, my father would get upset and have a heart attack. Or if I did something that my father didn't approve of, or if I upset my mother or my brother, my father would have a heart attack and die. So really, I worried constantly about my actions, about other people as well. So if my sister came in and was loud and boisterous talking about something, I'd immediately tell her, "Oh my God, be quiet. Dad might not be feeling good. Don't get him too excited." So I lived in constant fear and worry. Now, the thing is, I really should have changed the way I thought. My mother used to encourage us to really appreciate what we had, and really, that's my second point. You really have to focus on what you have, not what you don't have. And I think that fear of constant loss for me really made me waste so much precious, beautiful time with my father, or quality time, I should say, rather than, focusing on what was important. I focused on what was negative. And the thing is, even with my mother's encouragement, I didn't want to hear anything she had to say because, of course, when you're a teenager, you're always right anyways. But the thing is, she was so right. I didn't appreciate really what I had. I only thought of what I might not have. And the thing is, it makes a huge difference. Now, my mother told me a long time ago that really I had to accept uncertainty. And I asked her, "What do you mean, accept uncertainty?" She says, "Really, you don't know if today you're going to leave and an air conditioner is going to fall on your head from the 5th floor of a building that you just walked by, do you?" And I thought, no, I don't know that. She says, so you have to accept uncertainty because you're going out there not knowing if you're going to come back or not. And it's true. So when you think about it, nothing is certain in our lives, absolutely nothing. Every single day that you get up, nothing is certain. Whether you're going to go to work or not, whether you're going to get paid or not, whether the world's going to end or not, whether you're going to die or I'm going to die or not, we're never certain what's going to happen. So really, why focus on your uncertainties? Like, what if? That's being uncertain. That's also fear. Preconceived thoughts of things that haven't really happened yet. So don't do that to yourself. Now, my mother taught me the most amazing coping skills, and I taught my son this, I taught my grandkids this, but really, you gotta really think about it. You gotta stop your behavior. When you start thinking the worst of things, stop it. And I mean that with the greatest of intentions, of course, but you really need to stop the way you're thinking. Focus immediately on your thought and go, okay, what am I doing? So when you do something like that, for instance, if I'm worried about my father, I should have just said, okay, Jade, what are you thinking about? Because really, the short time they told us he would have, even after an open heart surgery, they said he would live 4 to 6 months. He lived 8.5, almost 9 years. Who were they to tell us that? They weren't even certain, but they were trying to give us a guesstimate. But at the end of the day, you don't know if that's going to happen or not. You don't know if your son's ever going to have another seizure or not. You don't even know if his diabetes training is going to take effect. Everything's going to be okay. People live long, fruitful lives with diabetes. And of course, this is difficult. And, if he's just going to diabetes camp, it's because he's just getting used to things. But give yourself some time to get used to things. I'm thinking that everything is going to be okay, but you need to focus on that for yourself, and you need to stop your thoughts. You need to think of what you want, not what you don't want. Focus on a better outcome instead of thinking the worst, and so that snowball keeps on growing and growing and growing with more concerns and more worry. Why would you do that? So stop your thoughts, think of what you want, ground yourself. So my little technique basically is that I close my eyes and I start to ground myself. I imagine myself like implanted into the earth and that nothing could take me off the face of this earth. And then basically I start to think of what I want, and then I start to envision, even in my third eye or my mind's eye, I start to envision really how I'd like to see things happen and how they're going to unfold. So if I were in your shoes, I would start visualizing my son, coming over with his kids, and start thinking of things way, way ahead. Rather, dream of the possibilities and the beautiful grandchildren he's going to give you and all of these wonderful things later on in life, than thinking about what if he dies. Oh my God. Because I'm going to tell you, when you wake up in the morning, I could just imagine, with a lack of sleep, you running over to your son and saying, are you okay? Oh my God, are you all right? And the thing is, he's going to pick up that worry and that nervousness, and he's going to start worrying about himself. And the thing is, you don't want to impose those worries, downwards. You want to be able to focus on them, stop them, and deal with them. Worry is actually very easy to deal with when you have a little system, and I do that all the time. As soon as I get those little butterflies, I stop my train of thought, I catch myself, I set myself in a realistic, in realistic terms here. I'm on earth, I'm breathing, I'm alive, I'm human. Okay, this is where I'm at. Then I start to think of what really I'd like the outcome to be, so that I'm not, I'm not worried. That's my focus. I hope it's yours. And Carolyn, don't worry that much, sweetie. Think of what you want. Don't put yourself there at all. You're just shortchanging yourself, and you're shortchanging your family, essentially. And it's not a bad thing, but I think that if you can focus, accept, and stop your behavior, I think you're going to be okay. I love you guys all so much. If you have a burning desire to ask me a question, please get busy in the comment section below. And until next video, we'll see you really soon. Bye-bye.